Most people think they understand what goes on inside the mind of a Sigma male. From the outside, it looks simple, quiet, calm, independent, unbothered. But what you see is only the surface. What you don't see is the constant thinking behind that silence. A Sigma male doesn't move randomly. Every decision, every reaction, every moment of silence has a reason behind it. While others react instantly, he pauses. While others speak, he observes. And while most people are focused on what's happening around them, he's focused on what's happening within. His mind is not loud, but it's always active. He notices details people ignore. He reads between words, studies behavior, and questions everything before accepting it. That's why he doesn't trust easily. Not because he's negative, but because he sees patterns most people miss. And here's what makes it different. He doesn't need constant noise, attention, or validation to feel okay. He can sit in silence and still feel in control. He can walk alone without feeling lost. And that level of independence changes how he sees the world. Because once you understand your own mind, you stop being controlled by everything else. And that's where the real power begins. He thinks more than he speaks. Most people talk to express themselves. They speak to fill silence, to react in the moment, or to show their presence in a conversation. But a Sigma male doesn't feel the need to do that. He doesn't speak just to be heard. He speaks when there's something worth saying. Before he says anything, he thinks. He analyzes the situation, the people involved, and the possible outcomes of his words. While others are reacting instantly, he is processing. That's why his silence is often misunderstood. People think he's shy, distant, or uninterested. But in reality, his mind is active, observing everything. He listens more than he talks. And because of that, he learns more. He notices patterns in behavior, changes in tone, and small details that most people miss. Every conversation becomes information. Every interaction becomes something he studies. When he finally speaks, it's not random. His words are measured, direct, and intentional. He doesn't waste energy explaining himself too much or talking in circles. He says what needs to be said, and nothing more. And that creates a different kind of presence. Because when someone doesn't talk often, people listen more when they do. That's the power of his mindset. He doesn't try to control conversations with noise. He controls them with clarity. He observes everything around him. Most people go through life reacting without truly paying attention. They hear words, but they don't listen deeply. They see actions, but they don't question them. They focus on what's obvious and ignore what's hidden beneath the surface. But a Sigma male moves differently. He doesn't just exist in a moment, he studies it. From the outside, it may look like he's quiet or distant, but in reality, he's fully aware. He watches how people speak, how they react under pressure, how their tone changes depending on the situation. He notices when someone's words don't match their actions, when energy shifts in a room, or when something feels slightly off, and he doesn't ignore it. Because for him, observation is not passive, it's strategic. He understands that people reveal more through behavior than they do through words. Anyone can say the right things, but actions, patterns, and consistency always tell the truth. That's why he doesn't rush to trust. He takes his time. He gathers information. He lets people show who they are instead of believing who they claim to be. And while others are getting emotionally involved too quickly, he is stepping back, analyzing the situation from a distance. Over time, this creates a strong sense of awareness. He becomes harder to deceive, harder to manipulate, and harder to read. Because while others are focused on being seen, he is focused on seeing everything. And that's what gives him an advantage most people don't even realize exists. He controls his emotions. Most people think emotional control means not feeling anything. They believe being calm means being cold, distant, or disconnected. But that's not how a Sigma male operates. He feels everything. Stress, anger, frustration, even doubt. The difference is, he doesn't let those emotions control his actions. When something happens, most people react instantly. They speak out of anger, make decisions out of pressure, or let their mood dictate their behavior. But a Sigma male creates space between what he feels and what he does. He pauses. In that pause, he thinks. He observes what he's feeling instead of being consumed by it. He asks himself if reacting will actually solve anything, or if it will only create more problems. And most of the time, he chooses control over impulse. That's why he doesn't get pulled into drama easily. You won't see him raising his voice just to prove a point. You won't see him reacting emotionally to every situation. Not because he doesn't care, but because he understands that losing control in the moment can cost him more in the long run. His calmness is not weakness, it's discipline. Because staying composed in a world that constantly tries to provoke you is one of the hardest things to do. It requires awareness, patience, and self-control, qualities most people never fully develop. And over time, this emotional discipline becomes part of who he is. While others are reacting, he is choosing. He moves with purpose, not impulse. Most people move through life reacting. They make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. If they're excited, they rush in. If they're angry, they act fast. If they're uncertain, they hesitate or follow others. Their actions are driven by impulse, not direction. But a Sigma male doesn't move like that. Every move he makes has intention behind it. Before he acts, he thinks about why he's doing it, what it leads to, and whether it aligns with his goals. He doesn't chase every opportunity, and he doesn't react to every situation. Instead, he filters everything. If something doesn't add value to his life or move him forward, he simply ignores it. That's why he appears calm, even when things are happening around him. While others are rushing, he is steady. While others are distracted, he is focused. He understands that not every moment requires action, and not every situation deserves his energy. And that level of selectiveness gives him control over his direction. He's not lazy, he's precise. When he finally takes action, it's not random. It's calculated, timed, and aligned with what he wants. And because of that, his moves are often more effective. He wastes less energy, makes fewer mistakes, and stays consistent over time. Because for him, life is not about reacting to everything that happens. It's about choosing what truly matters and moving with purpose toward it. At the end of the day, the Sigma male is not defined by silence, distance, or independence alone. He's defined by control over his thoughts, his emotions, and his actions. While most people are reacting to life, he is choosing how to move through it. That's what makes his mindset different. Not louder, not more visible, but deeper and more intentional. And once you understand that, you stop seeing silence as weakness and start seeing it as power. If this changed how you think, make sure to subscribe for more content on mindset and psychology. Now ask yourself, are you reacting or are you choosing?